What's up guys, Eber here with Hardware Canucks, and I'm back with some exciting content regarding the new Galaxy Note 9. Now, I've been using this phone ever since launch, and I know in my first impressions video I talked about how the 6.4-inch display was a big upgrade for me personally coming from the Pixel 2, but having used this over the weekend, I'm actually slowly getting used to it, and I'm actually enjoying my time watching content on the Note 9. Now, there are so many features to explore with the Note 9 because it is a feature-packed device, and hence the price tag of $1,000. But I actually wanted to test something pretty interesting that Samsung did claim during their Note 9 presentation, and that is the implementation of an advanced water carbon cooling system inside the Note 9. And that essentially prevents the phone from overheating, especially when you intend to play, if you intend to game on the Note 9. So I'm actually going to validate that because if you think about it, every flagship smartphone out there that comes with the highest end processor. So in this case, we have the Snapdragon 845 octa-core CPU, 6 gigs of RAM, and 120 gigabytes of storage. So in order to dissipate the amount of heat, engineers have to design a cooling solution that's a lot more efficient, but also doesn't, give you an unpleasant experience with overheating while you're, playing a game or something like that. So I'm going to validate that with a few tools that I have here in the studio. In fact, I do have one important tool that I'm really excited to try out. So let's take a look at it and validate the water cooling system inside the Note 9. But first, a quick message from our sponsor.
Treat your ears with the incredibly comfortable HD 58X Jubilee headphones from Massdrop and Sennheiser, delivering sound expected from $500 headphones but only for $150, making it one of the best price-to-performance skins available. Check out and join the drop down below.
Alright, so the testing methodology for this is actually pretty straightforward. I'll be playing a couple of first-person shooter games on the Galaxy Note 9. The first one doesn't really need much of an introduction because it has been a heavily anticipated, or I guess a heavily requested title for the Android platform, and interestingly enough, it's exclusive to the Note 9 and a few select Samsung devices. Folks, Fortnite is officially hitting the Play Stores very soon, and I'm actually pretty excited to try it out myself for the first time. Next up, we have PUBG for Android that also flexes the Adreno 630 GPU, and I chose this title specifically to create a point of comparison to my Google Pixel 2, since Fortnite is currently not available, at least at the time I'm making this video, on the Pixel 2 and a few Android devices. In fact, it was a collaboration between Epic Games and Samsung during the Note 9 launch to bring Fortnite exclusively on the Note 9 and the newly announced Galaxy Tab S4 tablet. Now, if you are interested in playing Fortnite on the Android and if you want to test out the Android beta program, you can actually sign up on their website and you'll be part of the invite list where they'll randomly handpick a bunch of users, and you'll be able to play Fortnite on the Android platform. So I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. Now, there are a couple of things that I'm looking forward to when testing Fortnite on the Note 9 and PUBG on both the Note 9 and the Pixel 2. One of them is, of course, the temperatures, because if you're gaming on an Android smartphone, you want to be able to game at a comfortable setting. You don't want your hands to sort of sweat over time, and of course prevent overheating, because that's something that we're looking into. So temperatures is definitely going to play a huge factor when it comes to this testing methodology. The second one is, of course, what's the experience like, because if you look at both the Note 9 and the Pixel, the primary difference between these two devices is, of course, their screen size. So, is the bigger screen going to give you a lot more advantage when it comes to gaming, or are you much better off gaming on a smaller display? So that's something that I'm also going to tackle. So I'll be using the FLIR E4 thermal camera to actually test or evaluate the temperatures on both the front side of the display and the rear side of the phone to see what the temperatures are like, especially after playing these games for about 15 minutes. So that gives us roughly a good amount of time to get the phone warm up and of course see where the temperatures are peaking at. So starting off with Fortnite on the Galaxy Note 9, I've got to admit it was actually an amazing experience playing it for the first time on the mobile platform. In fact, this is my first time playing Fortnite in the first place, and so it got me a few trials to sort of get used to the gameplay, and of course after 15 minutes of runtime, I was able to get a temperature reading of around 45.9 degrees Celsius on the front side of the display, and switching over to the rear side, I got a temperature reading of around 42.9 degrees Celsius. So it's certainly warmer to the touch. I wouldn't say it's way too warm because I can certainly comfortably game on it. I can certainly feel the heat coming out of the SoC, but that's obvious given that it's pushing really hard on the 6.4-inch QHD Plus display. So definitely keep your expectations medium, I'd say, if that makes any sense, because don't expect, the phone to stay completely cool while gaming on it because it is an SoC that's not actively cooled. So keep your expectations somewhere along those lines. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on the results in the comments down below. Are you impressed? Switching to PUBG, we saw a temperature readout of around 43.7 degrees Celsius on the front side, and on the rear, we got a readout of around 42.4 degrees Celsius. So it's definitely respectable. All right, so switching to the Pixel 2 running PUBG, and I definitely noticed an increase in temperature compared to the Galaxy Note 9. So as you can see with the front display, I got a reading around 45 degrees Celsius, and switching to the rear side, I got a temperature readout of around 45.7 degrees Celsius, so hitting the 46 degrees Celsius mark, which is definitely a little bit hotter compared to the Galaxy Note 9. And it kind of raises a few questions because one, the SoC on the Pixel 2 is actually located somewhere around the fingerprint reader. So that could be a little bit of a limitation because it's right beside the camera and there might not be as much of a, the cooling solution on the Pixel 2 might not be as efficient compared to the Galaxy Note 9. But that being said, I did feel like, this part of the phone it felt a little bit warmer. So that's something to consider. But like I said, both these games can still play just fine. The one thing that I will mention is that I did experience a few frame drops on the Pixel 2 because it's running, a slightly outdated version, a Snapdragon 835, which is a year-old CPU compared to the 845 processor on the Galaxy Note 9. So we could definitely expect a little bit of a performance difference between the two, which is obvious, but you can still game on the Pixel 2. This is still a pretty good smartphone at that. But out of these two smartphones, which one would I pick for gaming? To be honest, I might actually have to go with the Galaxy Note 9 because the 6.4-inch display is just amazing to look at, and of course you get a lot more real estate when it comes to running around the gameplay, and of course you get a lot more detail, and the whole experience just shooting your targets, it really is an immersive experience, and you don't feel like you're crammed, and you don't feel like you're just focusing on a smaller screen like the Pixel 2, which is a little bit crammed in my opinion when you're gaming on it. And I think that's where something like the Note 9 can come in really beneficial if you're looking for a smartphone for gaming, because man, the 6.4-inch display on this guy is just, it's amazing. Well folks, that about wraps up this video. And for those of you who are wondering how the water carbon cooling solution on the Note 9 would play out, especially with games like Fortnite and PUBG, well, now we know by the results, I want to hear your thoughts on this whole implementation, especially when it comes to smartphone brands trying to push their limits when it comes to display tech and cramming in the best in terms of specs. Thermals is definitely something that some brands tend to compromise on, but it looks like the Note 9 seems to handle that relatively well, and I can't wait to explore some more features with this device, so definitely stay tuned for more content on that. I'm Eber with Canucks. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our new Boot Sequence channel for the latest tech news and rumors, and you can watch some relevant content over here. And I'll see you guys in the next one.